What am I trying to say here? Okay. There's reasons why in my household, why the only place that I can get privacy is in the washroom or in my bedroom if certain people aren't home. So that's why I'm recording like in here, and I did not paint that wall. That came that way. We rent, and you only sleep, and you know, you don't have to live with this color. Like, although lately I have been. But anyway, who cares? The leopard cheetah shit is mine. Anyway, so I have to kind of watch what I'm saying and how loud I speak, because there's people, family in my house that listen in, and then they take what I say and they, you know, they can get hurt by it or something. Like if I happen to be talking on the telephone with somebody and you know, they hear part of a conversation, and then say about, I don't know, 6 months down the line, and somebody will come out and say, and I heard you say blah 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 to so-and-so, and you were on the phone, and all I can say is like, they're talking about something, I have to wait, process it, figure out what the heck they're talking about. Sometimes I can remember and sometimes I can't. Well, if I'm having a bad day or a manic month or week or whatever, I can't remember. And if I'm suffering from the really bad downward slope of being bipolar, it is, there's no way I'm going to remember it. I'll just be, you know, I'll just get really upset and stuff. Anyway, I don't actually know why I'm making this, but one of our friends in the community is having a really hard time with depression. And I mean, if you have actually seen any of my videos, then you'll know I'm extremely emotional and extremely sensitive, and that's because I suffer from depression. But I'm not, what's the word? Pessimistic. I'm more optimistic. Took a long time to get that way. But I am worrywart, and that makes it a little bit difficult at times. So, you can basically say that in my household, every one of us here has mental health issues. Mental health issues, right? Not mental illness. That term, illness, it's like saying you're crippled, and then they came along and said you're whatever the words are, and then it's disability, and it's not a disability, it's a something else, and they keep changing the words. Okay, so mental health, because it has to do with your health. And the fact of the matter is that if you suffer from some form of, you know, chemical imbalance, there's names for different categories for it, of course. And they took a long time for my family doctor to diagnose part of what was wrong with me, and then a psychiatrist for, I guess I was seeing the psychiatrist for like 10 years. And I just finally decided that it was good. She was a really good psychiatrist. She was really nice. She was beginning to talk about retirement and stuff. And then I just started thinking about all the stuff that I actually talked to her about. And she bounces back like we can talk just like family kind of thing. And then I started to think it would be easier for me to talk to other people, about it. Problems, just to get a different perspective, which is basically why I went to see the psychiatrist to begin with. There was a lot of issues going on, and the medication that I was on wasn't working properly, and I would have rather seen a specialist, and that was the major reason why I went to actually go see a psychiatrist, was because my family doctor was, he's trying his hardest. He's really good. He's a really good family doctor. But he was trying his hardest to figure out what to do, and it was just not working. I was suffering more from the side effects of the medication than the benefits of it. After a while, it just totally threw me into the the opposite of depression. It was going to become manic, and then with the mania came the anxiety attacks, and with the anxiety attacks came all kinds of stuff, and I basically became unable to do a lot of things. And then with the help of the psychiatrist and the change of medication and trying to rethink everything and the way I saw things, psychiatrists are there for a good reason. I mean, it is a complicated thing to work out, but it's not just the psychiatrist you're depending on. The psychiatrist is depending on you to tell the truth about what you're actually thinking and what you're actually going through, because otherwise, if you hide anything, they can't diagnose you and help you. They won't be able to say, oh, you're having anxiety attacks, because all you think about is, I'm going freaking crazy, and I can't figure out why. I'm shaking. I start crying for no freaking reason. I can't go shopping all of a sudden, and it's like, I can't go shopping. I had like 3 children to raise, and I couldn't go into a store. I couldn't see people around me, and all kinds of things were. It was really bad at one point, and I'm not saying anything against the medication, but the one that I was put on was that most popular one way back when was Prozac, and thank God for Prozac, but the devil can have it, because it brought me out of one state, like I said, but it threw me way into another, and it took a long time to get out of that. But I did get out of it, and it can be done. It's just a matter of listening to what your body's doing, because if you're feeling really anxious, you have to, what is that fight or flight thing? You have to listen to yourself and what you're actually saying to yourself. Now, if you're not truthful with yourself, then okay, you can ignore it and just continue on with your anxiety attacks and just, live with that. Oh, I can't go outside because, and I can't do this and I can't do that, because basically, if you choose to live with it, then you're choosing not to live. I had to change my perspective. I had to focus on what was actually bothering me. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of stuff that was bothering me. And then a lot of things happened to me that could have just pushed me over the edge. Like, it would have just been so easy to jump off a bridge or run, oops, I accidentally tripped in front of a bus, or all kinds of things go through your head when you go into the depressive mode. And, the worst thing you can do is be alone. And the worst thing that you have to deal with is dealing with other people. Because when you're trying to deal with your own self during certain times, it's really, really difficult. You have to focus on just yourself, but you can't just focus on yourself. You have to allow others their point of view. You have to listen, and it's really difficult when you're suffering from depression to accept sometimes. I would go on rants and oh my God, big huge things when someone would say, like, I think you're suffering from depression and maybe you should get some help. That's the last thing you want to fucking hear from somebody who's suffering from when you're suffering from depression, because like all of a sudden it feels like someone is like totally criticizing you, and you don't want to hear that criticism. You need the praise. You need someone to say anything except, I think you need help. Seriously? Okay. My mom was the last one to say, should have been the last one to say something like that, because she suffered for years and years with it and totally denied it. She went to psychiatrists for years, the doctors all the time. She said, see, there's nothing wrong with me, I'm not insane, da da da. It had nothing to do with being insane. It had to do with trying to get help with what was going on in your head. But if you're not going to tell the truth, the doctor cannot help you. So they can't tell you there's all these different medications that you can try. Yes, there's all kinds of different medications you can try. If one doesn't work for you, I swear my doctor should have written it down. If one doesn't work for you, you give it a chance. You give it a little bit of a longer chance, because it takes a while to get, there's like little screens in your blood system that filter out drugs from entering your brain. And it takes longer sometimes with certain medications to be able to make it up into the brain. Eventually, what you get is going to eventually push through the filter, and it'll start to, there'll be a chemical reaction with that medication, and then maybe it'll help balance you out, or maybe it'll just do nothing. If it does nothing, then that's proof that medication is definitely not going to work for you. But if it does something, but it does the opposite of what you do, at least with that medication, that's not the way that you want to, the type of treatment that you have to have. Then you would go research the other way, because there's ones that help block chemicals from being sucked back up, the brain chemistry, right? And then there's other ones that help produce more chemicals, so there's more available for you. Look it up. It's on YouTube. If you want a medical opinion, I'm just saying what I know in my head now. I figured out what the heck the doctor was trying to tell me, and I was so confused. There was a lot of things that he was telling me that I didn't listen to, especially the fact when he said to me, if this doesn't work, come back and let me know. Because he said it would take like a couple of weeks for it to work, and 2 days later it was like zoom, I was off doing this, doing that, today. Fantastic. I had an appointment with him. I was in there, and he was like totally fascinated by the fact that I had suddenly had all this energy and everything, because like I was falling asleep, literally falling asleep all the time. As soon as I stopped moving, boom, my eyes were shut. Right? I had an infant. I was doing at-home daycare. I had my 2 other children, and yeah, that you can't fall asleep when you're taking care of children. I'm sorry. And I kept begging him, there was something wrong with me, and he just kept on telling me, oh, maybe you're pregnant again. And I was like, how many times can you say that before, I just give up on myself, kind of thing, basically. That's what it was coming down to. And he didn't actually take me seriously until I broke down in his office. And then he realized, because people with problems, mental problems, we're the best actors in the world, because we have to hide what's going on in our head. And if we hide what's going on in our head to the people who are there, that are, you go to for help, they can't really help you. You have to let them know what's going on. And the last thing that you want to hear is someone's advice telling you to seek help. But if you don't seek help, you won't get over it. You'll be stuck. I was stuck for like 10 years before I was finally diagnosed. 10 years. There was something wrong with me. And finally then in my early 20s I was properly diagnosed. And I know a lot of the choices that I made in my teenage years and my early adult years wouldn't have happened, and a lot of other things that followed suit wouldn't have happened because the choices that I made at that time were not the greatest. And when you suddenly get treatment and you realize, what the heck did I do? You're either going to accept it and change what you can, get involved with whatever, anything, do things that can improve your life when you realize, hey, you know what? I was in a rut, and now, hey, I'm coming out of it, and there's things that I want to do, and it's the best thing when you can say, I actually feel better, you know? Like, even just last month, I was feeling so down. I'm sitting here on the camera and I'm just like bawling my eyes out and can't figure out what the heck. But I knew I was suffering from depression and I needed to change the medication. And I just had to finally push myself to go let the doctor know, yeah, there's something wrong here. I've had this long enough where I know that there's something going on. And if somebody says to me, why are you always crying? Or you always look like you're sad? Or you never do anything anymore, and you're watching your favorite TV show or something and you're not enjoying it anymore, and you know, like, what the heck is wrong with you? And then you automatically, your defense, you're going to be like, what do you mean what's wrong with me? Right? There's nothing wrong with me. Blah, blah, blah. Same old, but you know in your head, like, yeah, there's something wrong, so go for help. Get off your ass and go ask. But I don't care who you have to ask. Go to a freaking walk-in clinic if your family doctor's not going to listen to you. Go somewhere, anywhere. Go into the hospital and say, you need help. And this really great doctor said to me, if you go in and you say that you think that you're suicidal, they should take that as being truly serious, not have you sit there and wait 8 to 16 hours for a psychiatrist to come in, see you, after you've already had enough time to calm down and get your head half straightened out, and then say, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. You can go home. No. This doctor said, demand, insist. Your taxpayers are paying for that freaking hospital. You have the right to be treated medically. And if you feel that you should be put into the mental ward because you're going crazy, then they have to take you seriously and you have to insist. Admit yourself. And I have a whole bunch of other great issues and things that would happen for other things, but about the hospitals, yeah, I mean, I love hospitals. They're there for a reason as well. But sometimes some doctors are just so freaking blind by their own, I don't know. Some of them are really good and they realize, but there's still some of them that are just like that one thing where you just really, you know, and then after a while when you actually start to think normal and then you go back and you remember what some doctors have said to you, you really question, did I really hear that right? No, that can't be right. Yeah. Sometimes I think the doctors that you go see should be put in the freaking psych ward and treated for conditions. I know one doctor I was laughing with and joking with him and stuff like that, and I said, you know, it really sounds like that you're having a rough time and maybe it's time for you to take a vacation. And he just suddenly stopped, stopped writing because he hadn't really been looking at me very much, but I trusted him. He's a good surgeon. But he stopped point blank and looked at me. He goes, yes, I do. And then he just put his head back down and went back to writing his paperwork, and it was amazing. At least he knew that, yeah, they're serious, that he seriously needed a break. And that's a good doctor. That's the one who actually knows, yeah, you know what, you're a doctor, but you're freaking human, and you need a break. Sometimes you need a break. Oh well. But, anyway, if you're suffering from depression, the worst thing you can do is stay in and don't talk to anybody. Isolate yourself. Go back to sleep, pull the covers over your head, turn the TV on for companionship, and I know all the other stuff that you can do when you're suffering from depression. And get on the phone, talk to somebody. If you can't get on the phone to talk to somebody, then, and if you have a family member, hopefully you're not alone, because I really can't imagine doing it if you're alone. I mean, even if you have children and you're suffering from depression, at least you have something that you can focus on other than yourself. But if you're alone and you're suffering depression, that's got to be really, really difficult to get up and seek help. And I can understand a lot of people when they're like, well, why would he do such a thing? Oh my God, I can't believe she did that. And, you know, suicide, it's very easy. Living is really difficult. And the thing is, you have to find the positive in it. You have to. You just, I don't care if you have one thing that you can say. Oh my God, I can't believe that. You know, like, just one little thing. That cup of coffee I had this morning actually really was refreshing. Or even the feeling of brushing your teeth and having that clean feeling, you know, it's something, and it's one little thing, and the whole thing is one thing at a time, right? Don't sit and wallow and think about everything all at once. It's going to cause you to feel so overwhelmed. And when you're overwhelmed, that's one of the big reasons why anxiety attacks come on. You may not even think that you're overwhelmed, but guess what? Your heart's palpitating. You can't catch your breath. You're shaking. You could be breaking out in a sweat. You could be breaking out in hives. You could just suddenly start bawling your eyes out and for no freaking reason, or get extremely mad and can't figure out why, and, you know, want to just punch somebody or something, or throw something. Like, my thing basically when I get really, really bad is I have to break something. The sound of the breaking is like final say, like when someone slams the door, right? Slamming the door is no good for me, because other people in my household do that kind of thing, and that's their thing. I know this sounds stupid, but I swear to God, I do not find any satisfaction in slamming a door, or a drawer, or a cupboard, and I can't kick things because of my feet, and I can't punch because of my neuropathy. Yeah, I can punch a pillow, that's about it. But yeah, for me, it's the sound of the crashing of breaking glass, or pottery, or whatever. I'm sorry, my nose is running a bit here. But anyway, just, if you know someone who's suffering from depression, just let them know that you are there for anything. If you're a neighbor or anything, if you're close by, just let them know they're not alone. Don't force them to say that, come on with me, I want to take you out somewhere. It's more of a, if you see the opportunity. if they're up and they're dressed and they're already sitting around and they're chatting with you or something like that, then perhaps suggest, maybe that you can go out for a coffee or something and get them outside. And then, that starts one baby step at a time, right? But if you have depression long enough, you already know what has to be done. You already know. Stop looking at the negative. Smack yourself around a couple of times. Jump up and down. Shake off the shit. Get off your ass. And get out. Get moving. Make an appointment to see your doctor. Make sure it's one of those doctors that actually charges you. That's even better, because if they charge you for missing an appointment, that's a motivation right there. It's just so that you won't get charged. At least for me, on my pension. Yeah. Yeah. If it says that I'm going to owe $65 for missing an appointment, then I'm not going to miss that appointment. I'm gone. But anyway, if you're suffering from depression, you're not alone. There's millions of us around. There's sites you can go to. There's people out there willing to help. You've got the internet if you're looking at this. You can go on, take your tablet, your laptop, or your phone, search it. There's places and people you can talk to about depression. Just make sure that you actually do talk to somebody. Don't keep yourself isolated. Try to find just anybody, to give a chat to. You don't have to let them know that you're suffering from depression. Just go out. You can actually just go out. One of the best things as of late that I've heard is through the David Suzuki Foundation is just take 30 minutes of your time to spend 30 minutes outdoors. And you would be surprised how just going outside and watching grass grow, or watching, well, here it's spring, so you can watch the trees start to bud, or, focus on that weird looking, bug that's crawling across, your porch or your foot, or wherever you happen to be when you're outside. Just you don't have to walk. It's good to walk though, get the adrenaline pumping and stuff, but you don't have to walk. Just sit outside. Let the breeze catch your face. Let the sun shine down on you. The sunshine. Well, we all know that that's a good thing too. In moderation, of course, right? But don't stay out there for hours. Like I said, just half an hour is all it actually takes. And then you'd be surprised how just a tiny little bit different you're going to feel. But it's a change, and it's a change for the better. And I have no idea how long I've been talking. I have unlimited time on my channel, but you don't have unlimited time to watch me just talking away. So I'm going to cut this short, but I just want anyone out there that's not feeling themselves lately to receive a hug from me subliminally through the web, and many blessings as well, because like my channel says, Karina loves life, and I do. This is not depression. This is from my heart to you. Nobody cries alone when I'm watching you. So if you see this, I cried to share myself. I don't see anything wrong in crying. I'm not a whiner. At least I try not to be unless I'm in pain or something, but that's different. But, yeah. Love your life. You only have one. It's precious. And if you feel like you're not precious, then I'm telling you you're wrong. Because you are. You don't know how much I care for. Well, as you can see from my face how much I care. I'm not crying because I'm sad. I'm crying because I worry. And I worry about those that don't know that there's always someone there for you. Always. Through the internet, through, I don't know, TV programs, through sitting in a donut shop and someone coming up to you and just talking to you, or, you know, going to a store and purchasing, I don't know, purchasing something and having a chat with the cashier. Just a quick one. You know, I'm surprised how much people miss out because they're so worried about all the other things. But every person that you meet or watch affects who you are. And that being said, don't let my tears affect you in a bad way. It's, I don't know. There's a word for it. Maybe I'll think of it. I can't think of it right now, but I'm gonna let you go. I'm just continuing on, and just because I can. And I don't want to go until I let everyone know that there's always someone out there. Even if it's just say, give me a call, here's my number. Not saying that you have to, just only if you want to. Or, you know, I'll Skype you or Ooh or whatever it is that they do now. Even on live chat on Facebook or something, right? I mean, there's ways to get together. If you know, that's what I was going to say. If you can't talk to anyone and you're all alone, write it down. Write it down, how you're feeling at that moment. I mean, it's going to sound like so stupid, but writing it down and just set it aside. And if you're feeling a little bit more down, say a few hours later, write that down. Continue to write. Continue to write it down or record it, just for yourself, personal, private, you know, and go back to it and read it or watch and see how you were at that moment. You can be your own judge by going back and checking what you've written down or whatever, videoed, or just go back to it take a step back, take a look at it, and be your own judge. You'd be surprised what you can learn from your own self. It's amazing. Our brain is our best tool. It really makes me laugh when everybody says you got to use this tool in the best way that you possibly can, because when I was a kid and you were called a tool, that wasn't a good thing. So, anyway, from this tool to your tool, I'm going to say ta-ta for now. And I love you. Bye.